And mom guilt is real. You start feeling guilty. Maybe I'm not doing enough. You start feeling like, oh, I'm failing as a mom. I mean, your child falls ill. I remember my child would fall ill and I'll start feeling bad. I'll start thinking, maybe I didn't pray enough. Maybe I'm not feeding her well. Those lies, you are doing your best. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Laju. I share videos on lifestyle and career tips for health workers and immigrants moving and living in the UK, and my life as a Nigerian mom in the UK. If you're new here, you are highly welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you and welcome back. Mother's Day is in a few days, and I thought to share some of the tips and lessons I've learned in the past 3 years as a mom. I love being a mom. I love my role as a mom. I love the title mommy. I love being called mommy. I love being a mother, and I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful to God for this opportunity to be a mother, to be someone's mom. But to be honest, it wasn't always like this. There were times when I wasn't grateful I was a mom. There was a time I didn't feel this way. There was a time I was so disconnected from my reality. There was a time I didn't want my reality. I spoke about it in one of my videos. I think this was about a year ago. I'll put the link up. And in 1 year, a lot has happened. In 1 year, I'm not the same person. It's almost like I had a mental shift. It's almost like, something changed. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I'm not the same person that I was. But it wasn't like I was a bad person or a bad mom, but I had bad moments, so to say. But at that point, I didn't realize that bad moments didn't make me a bad mom, because a lot of times, I just felt like I was inadequate. I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And I'll talk you guys through everything that has happened. So the whole thing started last year. It was around this time last year. I think a little before this time, I just made up my mind to be more mindful. I made up my mind to just change some things. I wanted to be more mindful. I wanted to be more intentional. Motherhood had become like a dreaded experience for me. Every day I wasn't looking forward to, the next day, another day to carry all this burden. I just felt trapped. I felt like I'd been sentenced into this, motherhood situation. But the truth is, motherhood is a life sentence and not a death sentence. That is something I got to realize. I realized that, yes, motherhood is a sentence, because by God's grace, I'll be a mom for the rest of my life, amen. But it was not a death sentence. Being a mom doesn't mean that my dreams have to die, It's a life sentence. It means even in this motherhood journey, I can bring my dreams to life. I can bring things to life. So it was something I had to learn. And it took a while for me to realize it, because I just wanted to get out. I didn't know what I just wanted to leave everything and run. But what I really needed was a break. I just needed space to breathe. And I was overwhelmed by my role as a mother. And I would not deny it. But looking back now, I just wondered, like, wow, my focus was completely wrong. But a lot of things happened in the past few months, and I will just share with you the lessons I've learned from that time and from now. For me, motherhood was a struggle, especially the earlier years. I had a entirely new situation I wasn't familiar with. I'd come to a new country. I had a new baby. Everything was just difficult. It was just a struggle. I'm just saying this so that you know where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but my own situation at that point was pretty stressful. I had to cater to everyone, especially my child, and I just felt really stressed out. I'd come from a very active lifestyle. I had my job back home, and here I was unemployed, but I was still working full time. Like, I was working 24/7, but I wasn't working at the same time. So I felt like I had to put everything on hold. My life was practically on hold. But I look back now and I realize a lot has changed. Now things are different. Now I really love my life. I love my child. I love her so much. I love my husband even more than ever before. But most importantly, I love myself. Like, that was the first rule I had to learn. That was the first lesson motherhood taught me. Motherhood taught me to love myself. I thought I loved myself, but I didn't really understand what it meant to love myself. But, when the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself, you really cannot love your neighbor if you haven't loved yourself, if you haven't experienced love, for yourself. The first and greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind. That is the only person you should love more than yourself, really. Love God with everything that you are. But learn to love yourself. I didn't love myself because I was given so much, but I was burning out. If you can't give what you don't have. Motherhood made me realize I had to fill up myself with love before I could even love, because I was showing love. I was, giving everything, giving my time, wake up in the nights, everything. I was pouring myself out, but I didn't take out time for myself. I didn't take care of myself, and I was stressed. I was, so it became more like, oh, it became such a struggle because I didn't have anything else to pour. I was pouring from an empty cup, and after a while, you start pouring resentment, anger. I was pouring it at my husband, I was pouring it at my child because I had nothing left to give. I needed to, show myself some love, self-care, take care of myself, pamper myself. I needed to give myself time. My mother would taught me that even no matter how crazy and demanding life gets, you still need to find time to rest. You need to find time to prioritize yourself. What is important, what are the things that are important to you. Take care of yourself. And that is one primary lesson I learned as a mom. What are the things I love doing? Motherhood can make you forget who you are. That's the truth. Go from Laju, and the next minute, the only time I hear my name is if my husband calls me. The only name I hear now is mommy, 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 mommy. And you absolutely forget that there is Laju inside that mommy. So motherhood can take away your identity. You have to remind yourself of who you are. And that is one lesson I learned. I learned to take care of myself so that I'm able to give. If I feel rested and refreshed, there's no way I won't love you. If I love myself, take care of myself, then I can show love to, my family, my neighbor, as I'm meant to. But if I'm feeling like, burnt out, tired, and I'm just still going out there. Even Jesus took out time to rest. The Bible talks about how so many times Jesus would find time to just step away because he needed to, refresh himself in the spirit. So that is the first lesson I learned as a mom. Now, the second lesson motherhood taught me is not to compare. Now, this is like a general rule of life. I've said it. I think I said it in one of my previous videos about marriage or relationships, basically. Do not compare. Now, you as a mom, you are unique. Your child is unique. Your children are unique. So don't compare yourself with somebody else. Their situation is entirely different from yours, especially on social media. We so easily get carried away by other people's lives. But that's just, people show you 1 or 2 minutes of their, what am I saying? People show you 15 seconds of their life. It's Instagram Reels, TikTok, and you are already comparing yourself and you're already feeling like, oh, you're inadequate. Stop it. Stop it. So that was the second thing I had to learn about motherhood. Like, I had to stop comparing myself or comparing people's lives to mine. Your child is different. Your child will do it at their own pace. So you have to just stop. Don't compare. Oh, my child can read. I put up a video about that. Watch it if you haven't. But don't compare your child with my child. I would just be comparing unnecessarily. I still struggle with it sometimes, but I'm so quick to easily catch that thought and say, what is going on? Why am I suddenly stressing over this? My child can sleep at this time and wake up at this time. My child can sleep on their own. My child can, so many little things mothers we just carry on our head. It is not necessary. That lesson, I had to learn it because I just realized that, as I said before, you will just be unhappy. Why? You will not even know. You'll just be wondering what is wrong, and you'll be taking it out on your child, or you start feeling like you're not doing enough. So don't compare. It gets so bad that you now start experiencing mom guilt. Probably a working mom, a career woman, and you don't have time for your child like that. So somebody else's child is doing something. Like, for a while I was a stay-at-home mom, and I know I had enough time to invest with my child. And as a working mom, your dynamics are different. You can't say, oh, Laju's child can do this. Laju's with that child 24 hours. You are with your child 8 hours or 2 hours, whatever. You shouldn't feel bad about that. Laju also wants to work like you. So, it's just the dynamics of everyone's life is different. So please don't compare. And mom guilt is real. You start feeling guilty. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm inadequate. And I mean, the simplest thing can just make you fall into that lie. It's a big lie. You start feeling like, oh, I'm failing as a mom. I mean, your child falls ill. I remember my child would fall ill and I'll start feeling bad. I'll start thinking, maybe I didn't pray enough. Maybe I'm not feeding her well. Those lies, you are doing your best. If you think you are not, try to do what you need to do. But don't judge yourself and condemn yourself just right there. So, you can just get trapped in that lie, that whole experience of trying to live somebody else's life. But don't. You are unique as you are. That's the thing you should remember. You are unique. Your child is unique. So don't compare. And one of the ways I got out of that mindset was by practicing gratitude. That's my third point. Yeah, that's my third point. So instead of looking at the things that you don't have or the things that are missing in your life, rather, thank God for the things you have. Practicing gratitude, consciously being grateful, genuine gratitude, it really changes everything. Since I started practicing mindfulness, gratitude is so important. Rather than thinking, oh, I don't have this, we don't have that. There are so many things I don't have, so many. But every time I focus on those things, I just feel, it doesn't help. I just feel worse. I don't feel any better. It's not like I can suddenly change everything. I can try to make changes, but I'm not trying to compare or compete with anybody. At my own time, it will fall in place. And that's what I did when I started practicing gratitude. I'll just look at my daughter and my heart will be filled with joy. I'll be grateful for my husband. We have a roof over our heads. I'll just look at all the things that I have and my heart will swell with joy and I'll just be grateful. When I started doing that, my eyes were open to so many more reasons to be thankful. Opportunities, favor, so many more things were opening up. And, I was just, being thankful rather than me sitting and saying, oh, I don't have this, or looking at my bank account. Those things, they will not bring you joy. And your joy is so important. So yeah, practice gratitude. That's another important lesson I learned from motherhood. To be grateful. Rather than complain, be grateful and don't compare yourself. The fourth lesson motherhood has taught me is this. There is no formula in motherhood. There is no one ultimate formula for motherhood. Like everyone has to do it this way for it to work. No, everyone is unique, like I have said before. So everyone has different ways. We all have different upbringings. We all have our different lifestyles, So definitely our motherhood and parenting styles will be different. So a lot of people say, oh, do this at this age, do this at... Don't let it... See, you do what works for you. That lesson is so important. Yes, there may be some generally accepted rules. There may be some cultural things that people do, but even those ones, you have to check it. Especially when you first have a child, everybody seems to know what is right for your child. Do what works for you. That's why I realized, yes, as a new mom, you may have a lot of things to learn, but it doesn't mean that's how it should be done. It doesn't mean that's the formula for motherhood. You get? Because even your child, the way you raise child A is not the way you raise child B. Because this child was like this does not mean your second child will be like that. So you have to understand that no two children are the same. So there is no formula for them. You as a person, your own experience as a person is because of your childhood experience. So yes, we may all have the same African mothers. We all joke about African mothers do this. I can find some similarities, but I also know that there are a lot of differences. My mom was just her own person and my dad was his own person. Yes, they have a lot of African cultural things that guided their parenting, but understand that there is no one formula for parenting, and you can't use the parenting style of your parents to raise your children. These children of nowadays, you have to, you just have to pray for wisdom, because you can't say, oh, this is how they raised us, so this is how I must raise you. You need to be open to learn, expose yourself, read books, pray to God for wisdom, which is ultimate. Let him guide you on how we should raise these children, because God has given us these children in the first place. And just ask God for help, really. That brings me to my next point: patience. Motherhood will teach you patience. Being a parent will teach you patience. Personally, when I was single, I used to have that at the back of my mind, like, I think I'm not doing too bad when it comes to patience. At least when there's a queue, I don't cut the queue, I stay on the line. Little things that God tested my patience with. I think a couple of times I tried, but when you become a parent, when you become a mom, that patience is tested on another level. And I realized that one of the ways God is trying to make us become more like him is even through parenting. He wants to mold us to become patient, to become more like him. God is our Father in heaven, and God is patient. He is slow to anger and plenteous in mercy. If God was like some of our parents, we'll just be receiving slap every day. Some people are not willing to learn that patience. Rather than you accepting that God is trying to teach you something through your parenting situation, you think, oh no, it's this child. This child, you will not go rotting in this house. You will not this. Maybe you need to also exercise patience and learn what God is trying to teach you. I know you don't want to raise spoiled kids and all, but in the experience, there's a lot of patience to be learned. There's a lot of growth that occurs to you even as a parent. Yes, your child or your children are growing, but in the process, you are also meant to be growing. If you have raised children, you shouldn't be the same person that you were before you had children. There should be a growth process that has occurred for you. And for me, I think that's the learning process for me. Like, I'm also growing. I'm learning to be patient. I'm learning to listen. I'm learning to communicate, There's an entire process of growth going on even as a parent, whether you're a mom or a dad. So yes, that is one key lesson about motherhood. You learn patience. I've not still learned it. I'm still learning. But yeah, it's one of the lessons I've learned so far. Another important lesson that motherhood taught me is this: asking for help is not a sign of weakness. You know how generally everyone considers the woman as the helper, The Bible calls the woman the helpmate. But one thing I've realized is this: even helpers need help. Now, this is one lesson that it took me a while to also learn, because when I had my child, I had help for about 1 year, 9 months actually. I had help for 9 months after I had my child. My mom came around, my mother-in-law, they came around, and for a few months, But after they left, I was on my own and I was struggling to catch up and keep up with the things that they did. The house was clean, food was made, my daughter was being catered to, everything was going smoothly when I had help. But once that help was removed, I started to struggle. But I felt like this woman must have some kind of super mom power. So I was trying to keep up and catch up. And, I wasn't asking for help. And that was when the burnout really started. But until I learned to start asking for help. Now, for me, I had my husband, so I could ask him for help. Because I wasn't asking him for help, it felt like, oh, I could probably handle it, and from the societal perception of, oh, women have it all figured out, which is a lie. We need help. Mothers need help. Wives need help. So my husband didn't realize that I needed his help because I was trying to handle everything. I got food made, everything was going, but I was struggling internally. It was until I started communicating and asking for help. That's one of the things I spoke about in my previous video. Yes, at the back of my mind then I would think, oh, must I ask for help? Can't you see I'm struggling? And that's why I said men cannot read your mind. Do not assume people can read your mind. Ask and speak out if you need this help. And it was until we had this communication and we had a structure, we made a plan, we assigned certain roles to each other, just to ease up and make it, make it work for us. That was what we had to do. It was until I asked for help because at that point I couldn't afford to outsource or pay someone for help. But if you can afford it, do not hesitate to pay for help. If you, probably a single mom, or if you have someone that is not willing to help, I don't know, but hopefully they are willing to help. But anyway, you can get help, because if I was in Africa, I'll probably have someone helping me with the house, probably have somewhere to drop my child. I would have somewhere to drop my child, you would have that support system. But living abroad, that's one of the things I also spoke about in one of my videos. If you haven't watched my videos, you really should. But living abroad, you may not have that support system that you would have had back home. So asking for help, getting help is paramount. Is so important. Ask for help, get help. You're not superwoman. Get help. Let someone help you. If not, you will break down. Like, that lesson is so vital. Like, once I start feeling the overwhelm, I just open up. I just say, see, I can't do this. Either you ask for help or you leave it when you are ready. I don't try to push myself to say everything has to work out now at this time. Ask for help and be happy. The last lesson that motherhood has taught me, the last and final one, is this: extend grace to yourself. Extend grace to yourself as a mother. Extend grace to your child. Extend grace as much as possible. A lot of times you say extend grace to others. Extend grace to yourself. So many times I would beat myself up. I will feel underachieved. I will feel like, oh, I've not done this, I've not done that. I wasn't extending grace to myself. I wasn't looking at the things I've done. At least, even if I have not done all these things, at least I've been able to feed my child. And the little things that we take for granted, those things are so important. Extend grace to yourself. You are doing your best. Appreciate yourself, even if nobody else is appreciating you. I used to say, oh, my husband doesn't appreciate me enough. He doesn't say thank you. He doesn't do this. If he doesn't, appreciate yourself. I appreciate myself. I'm like, Laju, well done. I'm doing a great job. Appreciate myself as much as I can. I'll just look, I'm like, for me, I used to journal a lot. I like to write. So sometimes I'm like, okay, I did this, I did that. I may not have done everything I wanted to do, but well done. I extend grace to myself. And when I look at the things I haven't done, I'm like, it's okay. Tomorrow is another day. We'll try again. I don't beat myself up. Before I would beat myself up, I will feel so, it was just unnecessary. Extend grace to yourself. Appreciate yourself. If they don't appreciate you, appreciate yourself. Psych yourself up. You've got this. So yeah, those are the lessons motherhood has taught me so far. There's obviously more, but I'll just stop there for today. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and feel free to share. Bye.